What's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrificed my time so you don't have to. Man, so we're back at it again, huh? We're back at it again. The retro pay-per-view series. Got a little bit of a new coat paint on it, if you will. Put my little editing skills to use. And by the way, I don't know about you guys, but I like to think that I'm getting pretty goddamn good at this editing shit. Was that intro not fucking great? Was that not a great fucking intro? Kind of got you in the feels a little tiny bit. Good. That was the fucking point. So we're here today to talk about WrestleMania 22. Just a little bit of a backstory like I used to do for these retro pay-per-view stuff. The time of my life that I was having back in, what was that? I guess I would have been 13 at the time, right? I would have been about to turn 14, but I was still 13 at the time. Man, wrestling at the time, though, from what I can remember, how did I feel about professional wrestling in 2006? At least in the early portions of 06, I think at that point in time, I was still kind of like, on it. I mean, Eddie just passed away a few months prior to that, and I still wasn't quite over it. I mean, it was still something that was still lingering in my mind. Not that I was saying that Eddie was one of my favorites, per se. I mean, he was, but he wasn't at the same time. Like, he was never anyone who was on my forefront, but obviously he was one of the bigger stars in the company. It was just one of those things because you're a kid, and like, you know, at least for me, luckily, thank God, I can always say that I've never really at that point in time, I've never really experienced death. Actually, no, I haven't. Even my great-great-grandmother was still alive at that time. Like, I never experienced the death before. So whenever I hear someone passing away, and because I'm so not used to it and I'm so older at that point, it just hits a little bit different. So with Eddie, I still wasn't quite over it quite yet. I remember thinking also, okay, maybe it was just me, I don't know. But people who are around my age, let's say you're around like your late 20s to mid 30s, or maybe not mid 30s, maybe early 30s. Was it just me, or did you always think to yourself when seeing the Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio stuff, like, yeah, you knew Eddie was dead, but like in the back of your mind, you were thinking like, I don't know, man, because all the stuff Randy and Rey are doing, maybe there's a good chance that maybe they did like some type of pre-recorded thing, and they could probably put Eddie on a Titantron, and you know, maybe he could say a few things to get underneath Randy Orton's skin from beyond the grave, or encourage Rey Mysterio. I'm a fucking idiot, but I used to think that, you know, maybe there's a chance that, you know, they might do something like that. But, you know, the build up to this WrestleMania, though, I can remember, actually, you know what I actually remember the most? And I'm going to watch, this is my first time, but believe it or not, I shit you not, this is my first time watching this entire show from top to bottom. I've watched matches, you know, by themselves. I watched Edge and Foley by himself. I watched the Triple Threat match by themselves. Believe it or not, you want to hear something funny? I never seen Triple H and Cena before. I heard about it, obviously, you know, as far as the chants and stuff like that, but I never seen the match before, believe it or not. So that's actually pretty new for me. But professional wrestling at this time, it wasn't, from what I can remember, wasn't all that great, at least how I looked at it. I mean, once you get around late or like around SummerSlam 2006, oh, that's when professional wrestling, actually, I would say that was kind of a precursor to pretty much what I am right now, which is like a hardcore uber schmark who hates everything. That summer of 06 really jaded the fuck out of me as far as not really caring for professional wrestling like how I used to prior to that. Like 2004 was kind of like the first time I had an inkling of like not caring for 2004 was the first time professional wrestling didn't really feel like it was that much of a priority to me. And then 2006 happened, and that's when I pretty much became what I am right now for the most part. And just the matches building up to it, I just remember that was the first ever WrestleMania where I kind of felt like a sense of like, damn, this doesn't really feel like a great WrestleMania build. Now granted, oh boy, you don't know what you got until it's lost. Holy shit, the build to this WrestleMania compared to today's WrestleMania, oh dear fucking god, it's night and day. If that build was happening today, that'd be the best build in like 15 fucking years. But by yesteryear's standards, I didn't really feel like it was up to par compared to the previous year at 21 and then going back. It's like the only one that I felt that had a lot. I didn't even feel like Triple H and Cena had that much build. I didn't like Triple H's run at all since he came back from his little hiatus in the summer of 05. Triple H without Evolution being a heel was just so fucking weird to me. I did not, and him just not having the World Championship in general. And then also saying to myself, I didn't want Triple H to win because I didn't want to see him wearing that belt because I thought the belt was, even at that time, I thought the spinner belt was fucking terrible. I just didn't want to see Cena win that belt. But mostly I was really much more compelled to watch the Rey Mysterio stuff just to see if he was going to win the championship belt. I didn't even care much for Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon. Again, this card just did not appeal to me at all. Besides like Edge and Foley, which I thought to myself was going to be a great match, and the triple threat match, just because I wanted to see Rey win. Outside of that, this show did not compel me at all. But that was me almost 20 years ago, and this is me now watching the show from top to bottom for the first time. So with that being said, let's get directly into the show. WrestleMania 22, the return of the retro pay-per-view series. Let's go. Oh my God, the nostalgia. The nostalgia is real, folks. The nostalgia is real. My God, bro. So first and foremost, that video package, the promo package as a whole, you can take everything that happened with that promo package and you can easily stick it in today's professional wrestling. It was just crazy to notice how, like, think about it, 18 years prior to 18 years prior to 2006 would have been WrestleMania 4, right? They didn't even have intro promo. I mean, they did, but they didn't. They didn't really have promo packages. You got kind of like a fade in, fade out effect for some of the wrestlers. But usually it was like a quick show of the logo, a fly overhead green screen effect, and then it goes directly into the audience, and then it shows the, how many people are in the crowd that night and everything. You actually got a promo package with this show, which was a thing back in the days, obviously no different than today when you open up a pay-per-view. It was just really, really crazy to notice how, like, the pay-per-view promo packages in 2006 is literally no difference than today. Like, they literally, I don't know if that says how good they were back then or how bad they are today as far as the fact that they haven't really been innovative at all. I mean, I'm serious. There's literally no difference between the promo packages in 2006 versus the promo packages in 2024. It's like literally no difference. In fact, given the music was way more doper in this video package, I'd much prefer this to anything that you see today. Like I couldn't tell who the band was, honestly. Like, it sounded like, I don't know, like Fuel or maybe Three Doors Down or something along the lines of that. I mean, I don't know. I really couldn't tell who it was. It just sounded like some stereotypical mid-2000s alternative rock music. But nevertheless, though, like, I much prefer like post-grunge alternative rock mid-2000s stuff compared to what we see nowadays. This shit was just trash. And then it sounded like a song directly out of fucking SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 or Day of Reckoning 1 when you get into the actual promo package, building up to the show. I mean, this is out after the guys are hugging and they're showing how they look like when they were young versus, when they first started in the company versus who they are currently at that moment. Again, fantastic stuff as far as the opener. You even got I forgot the girl's name. Michelle Williams, the one of the former girls from Destiny's Child. I guess they couldn't afford Kelly or Beyonce at the time. So like, fuck, we'll get Michelle. Fuck, you could even got Beyonce's sister if you wanted to, right? Was she one of the singers in the Proud Family theme song? The Proud Family. Oh, you and me will always see die. But you opened up with Big Show and Kane versus Carlito and Chris Masters. Yo. Again, the nostalgia is so real. Carlito comes out and he like rolls for some reason. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. He just did like a random military barrel roll on the top of the entrance room. Like, what the fuck was that all about? And then Chris Masters comes out. I forgot how dope his entrance music was also. Or just the tons in general when he's coming out and he's like flexing in front of the fireworks. I forgot all about that shit. You know what? It's me. I look at Chris Masters and I thought about this. If you take Chris Masters' face and you take Mr. Kennedy's face and like you put it together, you literally get LA Knight. I don't know. That just caught my attention. And then you had Big Show come out. Whirl. And then Kane came out and Kane's theme song, bruh. I completely forgot Slow Chemical, man. Give me the drug I never asked for. Good times. So the match in itself, though, it was fine, I guess. I mean, it didn't go too long, but it didn't need to go so long. You know what I mean? Like, it was just an opener tag team match with two big guys, like Carlito and Chris Masters. That's the problem with professional wrestling nowadays. They feel the need that they have to go super duper long, but you really don't have to go super duper long. These guys got it. They understood the agenda. They had the objective right in front of their face. Get the crowd hot, get the fuck in, get the fuck out. Got a nice little leapfrog from Kane into a drop kick. Don't see that very often. Although I remember in like 2001 when I seen Kane do like an enziguri kick to like, I think Albert. Actually, I think that's when Albert won the Intercontinental Championship, if I'm not mistaken, because Kane beat Triple H in a chain match at like Judgment Day the same year. And I think he dropped the belt to Albert, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think he did drop the belt to Albert. And he did like an enziguri kick to Albert, and that shit popped the fuck out of me when I was a kid. Kind of popped here a little bit too. Again, you don't see Kane do leapfrogs every day into a drop kick. Even got like a diving clothesline from the inside of the ring to the outside of the ring. And the way the announcers were talking, Jerry and Jim, it makes me believe this was the first time Carlito ever did the backstabber. So, I mean, that's kind of historic also. But nevertheless, so it did. And so they had an exposed turnbuckle. They took advantage of it. Drop kick Big Show from the legs into the turnbuckle. They had advantage for a little bit. But eventually, it got to a point where they tried to do a double suplex on Big Show. He hit them with a reverse double suplex on both Masters and Carlito. Got a hot tag on Kane. They started to clear house for a little tiny bit. As I said, Carlito did hit the backstabber on Kane. This is after Chris Masters tried to lock the master lock on Kane before Big Show broke it up with a running big boot to the face. Eventually, after that backstabber to Kane, they took out Big Show, and Kane sat up and he was going to go for a chokeslam on Carlito, right? He ended up hitting, so he jumped off the turnbuckle and hit a double axe handle on Carlito by accident. Well, Kane kind of turned Carlito into it. And then eventually, he took Chris Masters out, and then he hit a choke slam on Carlito for the win. Again, it wasn't anything that was, groundbreaking, but at the same time, though, I miss matches like this. They got the fuck in and got the fuck out. We need more matches like that. We need to encourage that type of behavior. But seriously, Kane kicks a lot of ass, and I really miss Kane being in wrestling. Seriously. I mean, I miss all these guys being in wrestling. I mean, Carlito was still there, but, I miss the old Carlito. All right, continuing on. Man, that was a fun match. That was a really, really fun match. So we just had the Money in the Bank ladder match happen. It was Finlay, Rob Van Dam, Matt Hardy, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and Ric Flair. Yes, you heard me, Ric Flair. Now, I knew this at the time, obviously, because, again, I watched wrestling live at the time. Obviously, at that point, I was already in for like 10 years damn near. But, yeah, it just still never... It boggles the fucking mind as to who thought it was a good idea to put Ric Flair in a fucking ladder match. I still don't know who the fuck... That has to be a fucking rib. I don't know who the fuck thought that was a good idea. I mean, I will say, though, he took it like a champ. This motherfucker took a superplex off the ladder onto the floor. Can someone tell me? Because, I don't remember them throwing up the X. They threw up the X in that match. Now, granted, obviously, it could just be them working, but I expect them to work the X nowadays because more people know what it means today than they would have 20 years ago. I don't remember Flair being out for a long period of time. He looked like he was talking about his leg. But he did come back out, so I guess, whatever. We got the notable highlight spots from your old boy Shelton Benjamin. Leaned the ladder on the ropes, ran up the ropes, springboard off of it, and hit himself a little bit of a plancha, if you will. It's been in highlight packages for, again, almost 20 years now. You've seen it before. You played wrestling games. You've done it before. You know what it is. Although I don't think I've ever remember seeing the plancha like that before. Whenever I lean the ladder on the ropes, I mean, granted, someone can probably remind me, but I used to always just do the missile drop kick or something like that. Maybe a crossbody if I remember correctly. But I think every time you lean the ladder on the ropes in the old wrestling games, and if you run up it, because how nowadays it's retarded and it's a lot harder to do it. But when it was easier to do it, in the WWE 12 days or the 13 or 11s SVR, you could just run up the ropes and do a missile drop kick. But whatever though. I guess something did catch my attention though. I think it was Jerry Lawler or maybe even Jim Ross. I don't know. One of them said that Matt Hardy was one of the most. He's the only person in the match who has a proficiency in ladders, and I'm like, huh? Shelton Benjamin is right fucking there, and Rob Van Dam is right fucking there. What the fuck are you guys talking about? As a matter of fact, I'd probably argue that even at that point in time, Rob Van Dam was more proficient in ladder matches than Matt Hardy. Now, I get it. It's the Hardy Boys. They're kind of, symbolized with the ladders. But, Nah, I think, honestly, RVD had more ladder matches than Matt Hardy by that point in time. But I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I remember, though, being a kid and watching this and thinking to myself, not watching the match, but like watching the build-up to it, because I didn't watch the show live. And I remember saying to myself, I really, really wanted Matt Hardy to win the match. I don't know why. I just remember thinking that to myself, like I really wanted Matt Hardy to win. But anything else notable? Not, believe it or not, as far as spots is considered, I don't know if it's maybe because we're like kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it blessed, or fortunate, because I mean it kind of killed professional wrestling today. But like the spots that were done in this match were very, very mild, very minimalistic compared to what you would get today. I mean, in that time frame right there, you would have probably got like 30 or 40 different goddamn crazy fucking spots. The craziest spot that I can remember in the match that people are like popping for, but we see it all the time now. Like, it's crazy to see the crowd pop for like Shelton Benjamin springboarding onto the ladder to confront Rob Van Dam. I don't know. I look at that, I'm like, damn, bro, we used to pop for the most simplest shit. But I guess back then it wasn't really simple. They just kind of killed the spot today. I did like the Rob Van Dam springboard into the ring. Like, not springboard, but he had like a chair in his hand, and he essentially did like a self Van Daminator. He jumped off. So like Bobby Lashley is climbing to get the briefcase off, and Rob Van Dam has a chair in his hand. He jumps off and gives Bobby a self Van Daminator to the back to get him off the ladder. I thought that was pretty crazy. Anything else notable happened? I mean, you got a side effect from Matt Hardy to Finlay off the ladder. That was pretty decent. Rob Van Dam hit a frog splash, not really legitimate frog splash, kind of like a body splash, honestly, off the top of the ladder onto Finlay. And yeah, that was essentially it. I can't think of anything else notable. I mean, you got Matt Hardy. He did a leg drop off the ladder, I believe, to Bobby Lashley. I mean, I did pop for that. Anytime the Hardy Boys, do the whole little gesture, I always pop for. Gotta do it with them too. I will pause it and I will rewind it back and I will do it with Matt Hardy, and I have no shame in saying that. Good times. But eventually, Shelton Benjamin and Matt Hardy and RVD were all gunning to get the contract off the little dang. And Shelton Benjamin, he was taking out Rob Van Dam, and then eventually Matt Hardy was about to get the briefcase, so he kind of went over to it, because there's like two ladders right next to each other. Him and Rob Van Dam are fighting for the one directly underneath the briefcase, and then Matt Hardy set a ladder right up next to them to go grab the briefcase on his own. So when he kind of, stunned Van Dam, he went over to the next ladder to go get to stop Matt Hardy from getting the briefcase. And then that, while they're doing that, Rob Van Dam puts his leg over, kicks the ladder over, and they both fall and crash onto the ring, which gave RVD the opportunity to grab the briefcase, which we all know what he went on to go do. Yes, I will be, if I get the opportunity, reviewing the ECW One Night Stand show that I did review like 3 years ago, ironically enough during my vacation at that time. But yeah, we will see how that goes going forward. But the main event match, though, it was solid. Although I will say that I did enjoy the year, 2005. I enjoyed that Money in the Bank much better than this one. And I like actually WrestleMania 23 better than this one. I would probably say this is maybe the weakest Money in the Bank ladder match, at least around this time frame. But yeah, still decent nonetheless. But let's go to the next match. Dun. Dun 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 dun. Are you uncomfortable? I bet you are. Alright, so hey, this match right here, look, this shit was getting me. I was getting pissed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was getting pissed. I was getting triggered by this entire fucking match. Before we get there though, they did have the Hall of Fame ceremony, and I can't help but crack up. I busted out fucking laughing. First and foremost, though, before I say this, bring down the somber a little bit. We're going to bring down the mood, and then we'll pop it back up again with what made me laugh. Yo, it is fucking sad, bro. Almost everybody on that stage for the Hall of Fame, almost every last one of them are dead right now. Like, it is sad. The only two people who are alive were Tony Atlas, and I think that refrigerator guy, William Perry, the football player. I don't remember hearing about him passing away. I think they're the only two still alive at the moment. It's Tony Atlas and the William Perry guy. Everybody else is dead. The Blackjacks are dead. Sensational Sherry is dead. Gene Okerlund is dead. Obviously, Eddie is dead. I will say Bret Hart, but according to Howard Finkel, he didn't feel comfortable showing up tonight. I shit you not. Bret Hart didn't attend his own Hall of Fame. Well, I guess he attended his Hall of Fame induction. I remember seeing that on TV live. But I mean, like, the ceremony afterwards where you're, like, kind of giving them their flowers, he didn't want to attend it because he didn't feel comfortable going there. That is the crazy. It's like he really wanted to just go to the Hall of Fame. I heard he wanted to go to Hall of Fame to get his master tapes back or some shit like that. I could be wrong about that. Maybe that was for another situation. But I just bust out laughing. He just didn't want to go to his Hall of Fame. That was fucking crazy. But you know, the guys, yeah, because Eddie just passed away a few months prior to all of this, so it's still pretty fresh in everybody's mind, as talked about in the intro. And the crowd, they're just all outpouring of Eddie chants, as you know, per norm today, almost 20 years later. You know, we're still going Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. We still miss Eddie. But I just thought it was like, wow. But that's what pissed me off, though. Check this out. So we get into this match with Benoit and JBL. And it's pretty standard, not just pretty bare bones. Not really one of Benoit's best matches. But, I mean, there's only so much you can do with JBL. Not that I'm shitting on JBL, but, you know, JBL, for some fucking reason, thought to himself, the match structure for this was, the story was that JBL could be a better technical wrestler than Chris Benoit. So JBL tried to wrestle Benoit, which, no, ever. I mean, not even just saying Benoit is just, you know, insanely good and you have no chance in hell out wrestling him, but just JBL trying to do submission holds is cringe as absolute fuck. You know what else is cringe, though? So there's a point in the match where, because like JBL, he's clearly paying tribute to Eddie, no different than Benoit. He's doing the whole, you know, like the Eddie Guerrero shimmy he used to do and the smack of the chest and everything. And he does a Three Amigos tribute, and the crowd they're booing him. And Taz sounds like he's fucking disgusted, like, oh, you're disrespecting Eddie. Why is he Why did you automatically assume JBL's disrespecting Eddie? Eddie and JBL were best friends in real life. Does anyone know this? The backstory behind JBL and Eddie? I think Eddie was one of JBL's best men at JBL's wedding. Like, no, Eddie is very, very, very good friends with JBL. Like, very, very good friends. Like, they're best friends. So I just thought that was fucking hilarious. Oh, he's disrespecting Eddie. Why? What the fuck are you? Okay. Whatever. I just thought that, I don't know, maybe if I was JBL backstage, I'd kind of be offended by that. Like, I know you guys trying to work an angle as far as Hill, you know, Hill and Eddie wouldn't give a shit anyways, because, you know, Eddie was, you know, a professional, but I don't know, just something about that rubbed me the wrong way. He's one of his best friends, and you're saying because he's doing his stunts, that automatically makes him a bad guy. That was fucking lame. But nevertheless, though, I was trying to look for Jillian Hall with that little shut on her face she used to have. I guess Boogeyman already ate it off by that point, or maybe I didn't see her face all too well. But JBL ended up getting the cheap win. Benoit locked in the cripple crossface, and he kind of rolled him up and held onto the ropes to win the United States Championship match. I could have done without it, but it didn't really hurt the show either. Just some type of preliminary match in the mid-card. But the Hall of Fame, though, was fucking emotional. Other than that, though, let's continue on with what we were doing right now, which is WrestleMania 22. Yo, this match never gets old. Oh, my fucking gosh, bro. Oh my gosh. This match never gets old. I fucking love this match. But even then, yo, oh, fuck. Some of these spots I completely forgot. This match, oh, bruh. Yo, AEW, eat your fucking heart out. God damn, this was 20 years ago. Man, I wish Mick Foley was still around today. Because he wasn't just... You see the guys nowadays like Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley when they have these Texas death matches, which is very, very similar to this match right here. But the thing with those matches, although they were very, very gruesome, they were very, very violent, they were very, very brutal, Mick Foley's hardcore and street fight no-hold-bar matches were just as brutal, but there was an element of storytelling within. Not to say those matches didn't have storytelling, but there was some elite storytelling because Mick Foley is one of the greatest storytellers of all time. And then you throw in someone like an Edge, who's one of the most creative wrestlers of all time, and you get a match like this. Now, obviously, I don't have to go through too much shit as far as explaining this match to you guys. We all know Edge and Mick Foley at WrestleMania 22 is one of the most legendary matches ever, period, point blank. We all know this, but just for my own benefit. Because I honest to God, I haven't seen this match for real, in probably like a good 10 years, give or take. This is the first time I've seen this match straight up through for the first time in like 10 years, right? And honestly, I've probably seen this match only like a handful of times. Bruh. Oh my fucking God. So it starts off with Edge trying to kill Mick Foley. Yes, I said that. That's how it started off. He had like a baseball bat with him or like a 2x4. I couldn't really tell. But he's literally trying to attack Mick Foley with it. Mick Foley's wearing like this black grayish flannel shirt. And we'll get to that in a minute. There's a reason behind why he's wearing that flannel shirt and not his traditional actual half flannel shirt. His Cactus Jack flannel shirt. Well, he's trying to kill him, Edge, that is, with the bat, or 2x4, whatever the case may be. Mick Foley ends up getting the advantage for a little bit, but Edge, he brings some toys inside the ring, some cookie sheets, some street signs, blasting Mick Foley in the face with these shits. I mean, just tearing this boy's fucking head up with these fucking stop signs, right? Eventually, we get to a spot where Edge is like, okay, cool, I've beaten down Mick Foley to the point where I can actually get ready for my spear, because it was pretty one-sided for the most part in the beginning of the match. Edge hits his finisher, the spear. But for some reason, Mick Foley isn't really selling, but Edge is selling like he just got finished taking a fucking spear or something. And honestly, I forgot all about this spot. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And then it took me 2 seconds to realize, oh, Mick Foley did the Goldberg Bret Hart spot when he put like something underneath his shirt. Yeah, he did put something underneath his shirt. I thought it was like a steel plate like the Goldberg stuff, because again, I forgot all about this spot. No, he didn't. Mick Foley wrapped himself up in barbed wire. Edge speared Mick Foley and he stabbed his arm by spearing Mick Foley, who was wrapped in barbed wire. And at this point, you're like, okay, here we go. All right, let's go. He gets the fucking wire cutters and he cuts the barbed wire from off him and whatnot. And he starts to whip Edge with the fucking barbed wire. I mean, he's whipping the shit out of him, right? Eventually, he goes out to the outside of the ring, and he gets a barbed wire 2x4, and he brings it back in the ring. Edge, who's wrapped around the ropes, right? Like, ironically, Cactus Jack style, wrapped around the ropes. Foley looks like he's about to take his fucking head off with this bat wrapped in barbed wire. And then Lita, who's one of the fucking MVPs of this match, jumps on Foley's back, and she's trying to stop him. Edge is near the rope still, and Foley just fucking runs and hits Edge of a cactus clothesline over the ropes, and all three of them come tumbling down. And oh my God, that was so fucking scary. Again, I cannot think of another wrestler, period, point blank, who takes as many extreme moves. Maybe Daphne. That's probably like the closest person I could think of who could take as many extreme moves as Lita. And even then, Lita did it more. She did it on a more consistent basis than a Daphne, and it meant more when Lita did it. No disrespect to Daphne, R.I.P. Just saying though. Afterwards, because now, you know, the momentum's it's starting to shift into Edge's favor, right? Mick Foley ran and tried to hit Edge with a clothesline or with a running knee into the stairs, and he did the whole Triple H, Shawn Michaels mind game spot, Triple H Royal Rumble spot, where he kind of like I guess Shawn suplexed Mick onto the stairs. Triple H was the one that did the arm drag or the arm whip into the stairs, which he did to Edge, and his, it wasn't quite like Triple H's though, where like his knee, the inside of his knee hit the stairs, like his hip got hit into the stairs instead, right? And then eventually they start going back and forth. Edge pulls out a table and he was getting ready to, he put Mick Foley on it. He was getting ready to do like a splash or an elbow drop off the turnbuckle on the inside of the ring to the outside of the ring, but Foley got off the table. Edge follows him, and this motherfucker, I will never understand how Mick Foley takes spotlight. I just will never understand how Foley takes spots like this. It's fucking gruesome. He did the same kind of spots also with The Rock, or with, I talked about it before, with Mind Games with Michaels, when Michaels was slamming the back of his head into the pole. He took the spot where like fucking Edge grabs his hair and then just throws him backwards onto the ring ramp, and he just takes a flat body bump onto the fucking ramp, and it makes a sickening fucking thud. And I'm like, how do you take spots like that? And people wonder why Mick Foley can barely walk nowadays, right? Eventually we get to a spot where Edge pulls out some thumbtacks from underneath the ring, right? He hit Foley with the barbed wire bat also a couple of times. Hit him in the face, hit him in the back with it, hit him in the stomach with it. Foley's like covered in fucking blood now. He's a crimson mask. Edge pulls out some thumbtacks and he pours it out in the middle of the ring, right? And Mick Foley is about to take a bump into the thumbtacks. Edge is taking him over there. Quickly, Mick Foley reverses that to a backdrop onto the thumbtacks, and Edge is selling that now. He's sitting up. He's in absolute fucking horror. He's in absolute fucking pain. And then we get to another spot. Oh my god, bro. Where Mick Foley, he gets the fucking barbed wire 2x4 shit. Mind you, Edge is not wearing a shirt. This man hits him in the stomach with the barbed wire wrap 2x4. Edge is quivering. He hits him in the back with the 2x4. Again, Edge is not wearing a shirt like Mick Foley. He eventually hits him in the face with the barbed wire bat, which now Edge is busted open. And then Mick Foley ran, and he did like the little fucking running face buster. I don't know how to explain this. He runs with, he's done this plenty of times, but he runs with the 2x4 barbed wire bat, and he like slams it into Edge's face while he's on the floor. He's done it to everybody. Triple H, he's done it to Orton. He's done it plenty of times, but it just, God, is so gruesome. And it's a spot where like, fuck, bro, he like takes the fucking bat and he starts rubbing it in Edge's face, and Edge is letting out like this blood curling fucking scream. I've never heard a grown man, like, you know what, even Triple H, when he got the barbed wire rubbed in his face, he let out a horrific fucking scream also. But like with Edge, it sounded like, you know, his scream reminded me, you guys ever seen Jeepers Creepers, the first one? And like, you know, at the very end of the movie, when like they're going into like the Jeepers Creepers like factory or whatever, and like as they're going in the darkness and the pipes are leaking and all you hear is Derry, and he's like yelling in the distance. That's what it sounded like. Edge's scream sounded like Derry's when he's yelling in the distance while they're like kind of like panning into the factory before Jeepers Creepers, you know, does what he's doing to Derry, and he takes his eyes out and he looks through it, whatever. My point being is, though, that's what it reminded me of. Eventually, Mick Foley picks up Socko, and he's gonna go give the mandible claw to Edge till he sees the barbed wire on the floor, and then he wraps the fucking barbed wire around the sock, and he gives the mandible claw to Edge, only for Lita to come in the ring, and I don't know what the fuck she was planning on doing. But then Foley gave her the mandible claw. I forgot. I don't remember this spot at all. He gave Lita a mandible claw with barbed wire laced around his hands. And she took it too. Like, she bled. She was bleeding underneath her lip. She was busted open on the bottom of her lip, because I think maybe a piece of the barbed wire stabbed her underneath her lip. This is what I'm assuming. But eventually, he did that, and then there was some lighter liquid around. Edge brought it in the ring earlier when he sprayed it over Mick Foley. Yes, that happened. Foley got the lighter fluid, and he stands on the apron. He's like spraying it all over this table that Edge set up earlier that he didn't get to use, right? And then Lita comes with the 2x4 barbed wire bat that Mick Foley used earlier, and she hits him right in the fucking nuts with the barbed wire 2x4. And you know where this is going, folks. One of the greatest moments in WrestleMania history. Lita takes the lighter fluid and she soaks the fucking table with lighter fluid. Just completely soaks it, right? She lights the table on fire, and then Edge spears Mick Foley from the ring apron to the outside of the ring through the flaming table. And you can see Edge, his hands is like quivering and he's shaking. And then he eventually makes it over to Foley and he gets the pin for the 1, 2, 3. And Edge wins one of the most gruesome matches, if not the most gruesome match in WrestleMania history. One of the most gruesome matches in wrestling, period. And by far, for me at the very least. Unless we're talking about some fucking lame-ass, I don't know, some stupid fucking indie show, or some lame-ass frontier wrestling in Japan, or some bullshit like that. I'm talking about actually mainstream wrestling, folks. Get your fucking head out of the goddamn gutter. Yeah, I burped at the same time when I said that. Lame! That was one of the most gruesome matches I've ever seen a woman participate in. That shit was crazy. Crazies. But that was great. I fucking loved everything about that match. It's a legendary match. I know people say all the time that it's the match that made Edge. You can argue that. I still think it was the Money in the Bank the previous year, but you can argue that if you really, really want to. If you want to say that was the match that made Edge into a main eventer. You know what? maybe I will say that, because, I mean, I guess Edge did drop the belt to Cena like 3 weeks after the Chamber match anyways, right? So I guess maybe I could kind of see your point if you were to say this is the match that made Edge a main eventer, because it wasn't like, what, maybe 2 or 3 months later, that's when he started building up his momentum against Benoit, and then eventually, you know, he went into the match with Foley and Terry and Dreamer and Beulah, and that gross-ass match also, which I did review a couple of years ago. Again, I'm going to review One Night Stand. If you guys give me the opportunity, I'll re-review that again. But yeah, I guess you could say that's the match that made Edge to a lesser degree. But what can you say? It's Foley. All Foley does is make talent. Ask The Rock, ask Triple H, ask Orton. You can ask Edge now too. And you could have asked Dean Ambrose how that match actually went through. Go look that up if you get the opportunity. And he also added a little bit of an edge to his Shawn Michaels and gave Michaels one of his best matches he ever had. And that's saying something. But legendary match, fantastic match. I'm assuming most of you guys even watched this review because you want to hear my thoughts on this match in particular. Well, there you go. It was fucking awesome and I fucking love it. But with that being said, continuing on with the show because we still have more matches to go through. Well, they all can't be winners. So, you guys remember when I told you back in the days, don't take everything for what you hear me say? I generalize a lot about the stuff that happened back in the Ruthless Aggression era, back in the Attitude era, because generally, it was a great time to be a professional wrestling fan. The main event scene was popping, the mid-card was stopping, hearts, because I could have said that a lot. But my point being is, okay, shut the fuck up. My point being is, though, it was a fun time to be a professional wrestling fan. That doesn't mean everything was good. Case in point, this match right here with Booker T and the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman sucks. I never liked the Boogeyman. I've never talked about the Boogeyman on this channel before or on my previous channel. Here's my opportunity to bury this son of a bitch. He sucks. I thought at first when he came in like, what, 06? No, maybe 05. I think the previous year to this is when he first debuted. And when I seen it for the first time, there was a part of me, because I seen the vignettes, and, you know, it'll do the whole, I'm the Boogeyman, and I'm coming to eat your ass. And it's like, okay, I figure maybe there was maybe you can get a story out of the Undertaker and the Boogeyman. That's what I was thinking they were going to go along with this. And then this moron comes out, and he has the fucking time clock like a crackhead Flavor Flav. I don't know, right? Crackhead Flavor Flav. That's an oxymoron. But like he hits himself in the head with the time clock, and it's just the dumbest fucking shit possible. Mind you, you guys are probably like, oh, Devontae, the Boogeyman was the greatest of all time, like your mom in bed last night. But you're talking to a person who was damn near 14 years old at the time, and I can tell you, as a 14-year-old, I was not feeling this shit. This shit was stupid. I hated everything about the Boogeyman. I don't ever want to see the Boogeyman ever again. Even if he shows up on Raw today, almost 20 years later, I will still bury the Boogeyman. I hated him then, and I hate him now. The worm shit was stupid. It was gross. It made no fucking sense to me. I just thought it was fucking ill. Ew! Nigga, ew! Why? And they paid that man to do that shit too. And those worms would move. So that shit was real, bro. I used to think to myself sometimes, oh, maybe it's gummy worms. And then I think I remember seeing a segment where it actually, I didn't see it on this one at WrestleMania, but I think I actually seen it move a couple times. You know, nevertheless though, this match was dumb. Sharmell, I mean, all you need to know is Sharmell got kissed with worms in her mouth. She freaked the fuck out. She left the ring, and then she started to scream. Worms. And then Booker T got hit with a choke bomb, and then he lost the match. That was it. I shit you not. And with that being said, that is about as much of attention as I'm going to give a match like this. Continuing on. My fellow men, come to me. Circle around. Get together. I want you guys to hold hands. I want you guys to bow with me. Bow with me, I say. And I want you guys to thank the Lord with me. Heavenly Father, I thank thee for giving females vaginas. For giving Mickie James a vagina. And for making her wear underwear at WrestleMania and taking so many pinfalls. In Jesus' name, amen. That was the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, folks. Now you may say to yourself, Devontae, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage is the WrestleMania match of all time, and I'm here to tell you, you're a fucking liar. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Trish Stratus and Mickie James had the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. The amount of times Mickie's pussy was exposed was so heartwarming and so beautiful. The pinfalls that Mickie was doing when she was straddled up and like her ass was all jiggly and the panties was barely hiding. It was such a beautiful sight. That was fantastic. I've never, you know what, believe it or not, I've heard so many stories about this match and I've seen them finish countless amount of times, but I've never seen the match in its entirety. This is the first time, and it won't be the last. In fact, when I'm done reviewing the show, I might have to revisit it one more time for research purposes. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I would love to get ahead of myself with these two, but I can only get ahead of myself. I can't get any head, I gotta get ahead. Mickie James. So, Trish Stratus is about to go for the Stratus faction, right? Mickie James countered the Stratus faction. Now, you may be asking yourself, Devontae, spit it out, man. How did she counter it? She grabbed her pussy. That's it. That's how she countered it. She grabbed her pussy. Yeah. That ain't PG. But I got pissed off because I clearly remember Mickie. She did like the whole little fucking I'm gonna lick your pussy motion thing, right? Like that's what she did. Like originally they cut it out of the Peacock version. I didn't see it in here. Like she clearly did the whole little tongue wiggling thing after she grabbed it, and I was just, she didn't do it here, and I'm very, very sad that we didn't get the opportunity to see that one last time. But Trish lost the match because she took a chick kick to the face. Oh, and also, I will say, this match also, they did not like Trish. Again, I didn't see this match in its entirety before, but I never knew Trish was like the outright fucking heel in this match. I mean, she was the babyface, but they were not treating her like that. Chicago were not fans of Trish Stratus. I can tell you this much, this wasn't Toronto. This wasn't Toto. This wasn't Toronto. They were all over Mickie James. Now, something tells me maybe it has something to do with the fact that CM Punk, I don't think he was dating Mickie James around this time, but I know they had a relationship. I'm going to think that maybe it has something to do with that. But then again, in this Chicago, I mean, we just talked about Joe Music not too long ago, right? They're a bunch of goddamn criminals. 9 times out of 10, it just be the fact that they want to, they see something immoral and they just gravitate towards the immoral, right? I guess that could probably be the case also. But nevertheless, though, this match was just beautiful. It was the greatest match of all time. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. It was beautiful. And like I said, we need to get through this review because I feel as if I have to go back to go see if I missed any spots to report back to you. Report back to you guys. Yeah, let's go with that. Report back to you guys. So let's hurry up with this review. Okay, so there's not much to talk about with this match per se because it wasn't really that good. I didn't really care for this casket match all too much. Probably one of Taker's weaker matches. I mean, I will give props to Mark Henry. He's a lot more agile than people give him credit for. And I will say the finish for this was, god damn, what a fucking feat. You forget sometimes how strong the Undertaker really is. And I'm not talking about the last ride, or it was really a last one, more like a power bomb out of the corner before he did do the whole Undertaker spot, the stereotypical Taker spot when he like jumps over the rope, suicide dive over the top rope. Suicide tope suicida. He hit it, but it looked like his foot kind of caught the edge of the casket a little bit. That didn't really look too fun. I don't know what made Taker think that was smart to do a suicide dive like that directly. I mean, I guess it looks cool going directly over the casket, but I mean, Taker's fucking tall, so it's like, his legs, I don't know, maybe that's just me. I didn't think that was kind of smart because I guess his foot did hit the guy, and didn't he have foot problems like going throughout the rest of the year? Well, then again, Taker was always injured, so what the fuck. But this spot right here was crazy. He threw him in the ring, and I did not think he was gonna, because it's Mark Henry. He's a big fucking boy. And Taker hit him with the tombstone power driver, which I thought was crazy. He hit him with the tombstone. I was expecting him for chokeslam and then roll him in the ring. Nah, Taker hit him with a tombstone, and he did that shit cleaner than a motherfucker. And I'm like, wow. Oh, okay. That said it best. I mean, you're calling fucking Mark Henry the world's strongest man. When you have Undertaker doing shit like that, that was fucking bananas, though. But other than that, though, Taker did win the match, obviously. I mean, as you know, the streak did continue. It was just one of those things where it's like, this wasn't good. But Taker's actual streak, not just the streak of WrestleMania as far as, you know, the win-loss streak, but his streak of having insanely good WrestleMania matches started the following year. Once you got to that Batista match, and then 24, and then 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's when the real streak started, where Taker had the best match of the goddamn night the following year. But this right here marked the last time Taker had a shitty WrestleMania match. Until Brock Lesnar, but that's another story. All right, let's keep going. What is this fucking pay-per-view, bruh? I forgot how X-rated 2006 were, bruh. I can see why they went PG like 2 years later. What the fuck is this show? And they're constant fucking gesturing towards X-rated stuff. Yo, almost everything that happened in this match and related to this match will never happen today. Like, almost everything. From the blood, from the headshots, from the sexual gestures, from Mr. McMahon trying to have people kiss his ass, from having fucking cheerleaders act like women, because apparently if you do that, that means you're being transphobic, homophobic, guy-phobic, superphobic, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious phobic. I don't fucking know. And more importantly, Jim Ross on commentary. Oh my God, Jim Ross on commentary was something else, bruh. This man here, he is, bruh. If they even went back in these files and heard what Jim Ross said, he would get canceled so fast today, his head would goddamn spin. Okay, so the video package is essentially them tormenting Shawn Michaels. That's it. They're just tormenting Shawn Michaels the entire time. You get to the match in itself. And Vince McMahon is posing next to this Muscle Fitness cover magazine of his, right? Shawn goes out there, he beats the crap out of Vince, brings him back in the ring, hits him in the head with his old little frame, his picture frame, and comes the Spirit Squad. A young Dolph Ziggler has been seen. Actually, he's dictating the pace, also telling them what to do. It gets to a point where they beat the crap out of him. They do this. I used to love this move that they used to do back in the days too, when they all would grab a limb and then they'll just like launch the person up in the air. I used to actually love that shit back in the days. But nevertheless, though, they did that. And then Kenny Dykstra, if you remember him from the Spirit Squad, he got on the turnbuckle and he tried to go for his little finishing move. That used to be a dope ass. I used to love that leg drop too, where like he'll like do the leg drop and then he'll like curl his legs inward and then like stick it back out again. I used to love that shit when I was a kid. But he did that and he ended up hitting it on, well, he almost hit it with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels moved out of the ring and then he hit his ass, and you know, Shawn found a cone from under them, like, you know, the little megaphone cones that the cheerleaders use. He picked it up and he started hitting them all in the head with it, and then eventually he threw Kenny Dykstra out of the ring and got rid of him. Vince McMahon, he ended up hitting the clothesline on Shawn Michaels. He took advantage for a little while until eventually Shawn Michaels, he got the advantage again. They started to go back and forth for a little bit longer. He was setting him up for Sweet Chat Music until Shane McMahon came out. And then Shane and Vince started. Shane hit him in the head with a Kindle stick, right? And then Vince McMahon and him started to jump him and take advantage of him. It got to a point in time where Vince pulled down his pants. And bruh, this man is literally doing the most gayest gestures I think you could possibly ever do as a man. This man pulls down his pants, and I don't know how to describe it because we're looking at him from the front, but I don't I don't know how else to describe this. He's clapping his ass cheeks. I don't bruh, and he has the most grimace look on his face. I'm looking at him like, what, bro? When I was 9, I know I used to get upset about this, but now that I'm older and I look at this, I'm like, Vince, this is the most suspect shit ever. This man pulls his pants down, he looks at the crowd, and like, he starts clapping his ass cheeks, and he's like moving his face and like a thought kind of like, you know how the thoughts stick their tongue out and they go like, ah, 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 ah. If you're from the hood, you know what I'm talking about. That's essentially what Vince is doing, and he's clapping his ass cheeks. And I'm like, bruh. It got to the point where Jim Ross let out a remark because Shane tried to shove Shawn's face into Vince's ass, and then that exactly how I said that. And Shawn instead reversed it, and then he shoved Shane's face into Vince's ass, and then he hit a low blow on Vince, and I think he hit Shane with a kendo stick, if I'm not mistaken. Shane goes out of the ring, and while Shawn is looking for handcuffs, so he finds handcuffs, he handcuffs Shane's hands to the ropes, and Vince is in a daze in the ring, and Jim Ross, because his pins still down around his ankles, yes, exactly what I just said there, and Jim Ross says, and I quote, "He is on Queer Street." Yeah. And then afterwards, he was like, "You can do whatever you want to do with your lifestyle." So you know where he was going with that. If Jim Ross is listening, which I doubt that he is, go to WWE right now and hold all of them at ransom and tell them to edit that out. Because the minute these SJWs today find that videotape, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. Bruh, this match is insane, bruh. You get back into the ring and Shawn just beats the ever-loving shit out of him. He blasts him. I mean, that is one of the most hardest chair shots I think I've ever seen from a wrestler. To the degree that Vince did it. So, if you guys know, Vince is bleeding in this match, right? He didn't blade. He hit him so hard with the chair, he actually split his shit to the white meat. The top of his head was bleeding. It wasn't like, not his forehead. I mean, the actual top of his head was bleeding like crazy, bro. I know he got stitches that night. Eventually, he goes out of the ring. He gets a ladder. No, first he brings in the table, and he puts Vince on top of the table. Then he brings out a ladder, and he gets on top of it, and then he gets back down, right? He was first teasing the Sweet Chin Music also, before all this. But he throws the ladder outside the ring, right? And he brings in a bigger ladder, almost twice the size of the original ladder. And he brings in some trash cans, right? And he puts the trash can on Vince's head, and he puts them on the table. And I never recognized this spot before, but this kind of hurt the match for me now that I noticed it. I couldn't help but hear it, and I noticed it clear as day. Because Shawn is climbing up this big-ass ladder, get ready to do his elbow drop, right? And Shane is right there, and he's like trying to stop him, stop him in quotes. And I say that because while Shawn is at the top of the ladder, right, getting ready to hit the elbow drop on Vince, you can clear as day hear Shane say, "Are you okay, Shawn?" Or "Are you safe?" Something along the lines of that. I think he said something like, "You're safe up there, Shawn." Some shit like that. You can clear as day hear Shane say that. And Shawn responds with "yes." And the camera catches all of it. And I'm just like, ugh! I hate when I see, it's like watching the TLC matches and you see Bubba Ray constantly looking outside the tables when he's climbing on top of the ladder before he gets pushed off the ladder through the four tables. And you can kind of look at him. He's looking back and forth at the tables like he's trying to measure himself to see if he's like okay to clear the distance. It kind of reminds me of that, where it's like, ugh, damn it. I hate that. I hate when I see spots like that nowadays. But Shawn ends up hitting the elbow drop on Vince through the table with the trash can on his head. And, I didn't even know this. Honestly, I always thought that was the finish to the match. Believe it or not, maybe it's just some kind of Mandela effect. I thought that was the finish to the match this entire fucking time. Nah, he picked them back up again because the doctors and EMTs started coming out to the ring trying to tell Shawn that's enough, please stop, yada, yada, yada. Well, Shawn didn't listen, and he picked Vince back up to his feet, and he's like, "I want you to look me in the eyes. I want you, look at me when I kick your teeth down your throat." He stands Vince up, who's dazed and confused. He sets him up for the Sweet Chin Music and blasts him right in the face, and he got the win off of that. This was one-sided as fuck. This was a beatdown. Kind of unrealistic, to be perfectly honest with you. To be fair, I mean, antics-wise, I kind of liked it, but at the same time, setting up the spots took way too fucking long. Not to mention, 2 hardcore matches on one night is a little bit excessive, if you ask me. Especially for a guy like Vince who didn't really do much in this match. Just being honest with you. Kind of always thought this match was a little bit overrated. I mean, I get the whole, elbow drop off the ladder through Vince on the trash can. I get that. But that plus the really, really, really suspect zesty ass spots, I was going to pass on this match. Bruh, Vince clapped his ass cheeks and he started to make the most thoughtiest face you could possibly make. Like, he really was into that shit, bro. Like, this man ain't right, bro. This man ain't right in the fucking head. This man is not right, bro. All right, let's continue on, man. This is a wild pay-per-view. This is a wild ass pay-per-view. Okay, so first time watching this triple threat match, and God knows how long. And I forgot, man, this whole show is just like a blur to me, man. I swear to God. I'm watching this match right here, and man, Rey Mysterio, I never recognized how many times he was kind of screwing up in the match a little tiny bit. He outright botched a move later on in this match, but he was kind of loud in this match, and he was kind of not in the correct positions at certain points. Like I said, he outright botched the move completely in this match right here. Although I will say the beginning of this, like the entire like package deal as a whole, Mysterio coming out, I call me crazy. I've been hearing Booyaka for almost 20 years now, right? Never did I had no fucking clue POD sung Mysterio out. I never knew POD did his theme song in general. I just vibed to Booyaka, but I never recognized it was POD who did it. I guess when I think about it, you know, I don't know, maybe I guess his original Booyaka, remember he has two versions. He has the original one, which has like a little bit more of a reggaeton type of vibe to it. And then he has like the new metal version of it, the one he currently uses at the moment right now. I guess in hindsight, I probably should have picked up on the fact that it was POD. I'm not really that heavy into POD. I mean, I'm not a new metal fan. I don't like POD. I'm not a fan of System of the Down. I'm not a fan of Slipknot or any of those bands. But I'm very much aware of who they are, obviously. And it's like, oh, they're playing them out to the ring. And they killed it right there, though. That shit was a vibe. That shit was hard as fuck when Mysterio came out. But I seen the people on stage. I'm like, is that POD? What the fuck? And I'm like, nah, that's not POD. And at first, I kind of thought, because the lead singer, I thought, is that Stan? But I'm like, he's a white guy. He doesn't speak Spanish. But yeah, no, they just caught me by surprise, though. I'd love to see Korn play Mysterio out, though, one of these days, you know, like do a cover of Booyaka. I bet they fucking kill it. You know, I bet Jonathan has the vocals for it to fucking do something like that. But they had the match, the three-way, and again, it was fine for what it was, more so because Perk Angle was on the fucking horizon in this match. You can clearly see Perk Angel starting to give birth to himself. This motherfucker was a goddamn machine. He was suplexing motherfuckers left and right. Kurt was the best part of this entire match. That's why people were booing Mysterio and cheering Angle. I mean, Orton's a heel, so who gives a shit? But that's why they were cheering Angle. Angle was over as fuck in this match because Angle was a fucking beast. He was the best part of this entire match. Like, the entire match. And I give props to Randy Orton also. He was selling his ass off in this match. He took a nasty fucking... That fucking 619 to the West Coast pop he took, that shit looked beautiful. That shit... Mind you, this is 3 years later. His selling was so good, it makes me think, was Randy Orton the one who did the animation for the sell job in the original Here Comes the Pain? Because I swear, he was like moving around in the same way that the guy would move around when they're about to take the West Coast pop and Here Comes the Pain. I don't know, I just thought that was a really, really dope ass sell job, how he took that. How he took the Frankensteiner, West Coast pop. But nevertheless, though, Mysterio did botch. He tried to go for a 619 outside of the ring, like Angle was hanging up on the ropes in the 619 position, right? And then Mysterio tried to go for this, try to come around the post from the outside of the ring. So a 619 around the post, and he slipped, which sucks. It looked pretty fucking terrible. I'm not gonna lie. And eventually, you get to the finish. As I said before, Angle. He got RKO'd by Orton. Orton kicked out. Angle kicked out. Angle actually hit an Angle slam on Randy Orton, and Randy Orton kicked out of that. And then eventually we got to a spot where, because again, Angle had the match won multiple times too. The ankle lock on Ray, the ankle lock on Randy, but each time both guys kept pulling the referee out of the ring or distracting the referee. Again, they're trying to put over Ray as a babyface, but it's like, and I know maybe they're trying to do the whole Eddie Guerrero, oh, you know, this is what Eddie would have done type of thing, but it's like, Nah, it just doesn't work, man. Not to mention the way they kept playing out Rey Mysterio throughout this feud. I'm not saying that's what Rey did, obviously. I'm not even saying that was their intention, but my God, did it really feel like, for real, like they were kind of exploiting Eddie's death to a lesser degree? You know, it really did feel that way. I mean, I know that's not their intention. I know that's not what they were actually trying to do. Not to mention how they used Eddie's name. Eddie would have fucking loved all of this, obviously. But man, it really, really felt like they were kind of exploiting Eddie's name to a lesser degree. But Rey did win the match. He was the World Heavyweight Champion, had one of the shittiest reigns in like wrestling history for a world champion. His initial start with this match right here was already bad enough with his performance here. And it just kept continuing to becoming one of the worst world championship reigns in the history of the fucking business. But he actually did win the world championship. He can actually say he was a world champion multiple times at this point. It's just crazy to, you know, think that POD actually did his song. I feel so stupid right now. I feel really so stupid. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that little pillow fight shit that they just had just absolutely didn't exist. I'm going to pretend that wasn't the thing. See, I talk about sex appeal all the time, folks. And that wasn't sexy at all. That was just terrible wrestling with pillow fights in between. And none of them had any ass. I never really found Candice Michelle to be sexy ever, and Tori Wilson, her days are past her. Now, granted, you do that match with the women today, Jada Parker and Nikita Lyons in the pillow fight, now you're up my alley. Although I will say, hearing Jerry Lawler just flat out, because you know how Jerry Lawler has all like the sexual innuendo jokes, to hear him flat out just say, oh, look at her breasts, like just flat out like that was wild. Bro, I swear to God, if people could just watch this show again, bro, there'll be so many people fucking cancel their heads for spin. But let's talk about Triple H and John Cena, because that's the main event. I'm not gonna lie to you, folks. This match was kind of boring. Like I never really cared for Cena and Orton and Triple H matches. I never liked them. The only good match I can never think of that Cena and Orton really intrigued me on, God, maybe the Iron Man match. I mean, I hear people talk about their SummerSlam match in 2007, not the 09 one. People hate the 09 one, but people like the 07 one. I don't like that match either, to be perfectly honest with you. The only match I really dug from them was, what was it? Was it at Bragging Rights, I think? The Iron Man match where like Orton tried to kill Cena with the fire, with the pyro and shit. That was like the only good match that I liked out of them. And Triple H and Orton never had good matches, in my opinion. And don't even get me started on John Cena and Triple H. Like this match right here, the only thing that was really crazy about this, which I knew about this, was the crowd response, because Cena, as always, gets booed like fucking crazy. But this was like the first instance where they were just like, boo, John Cena, boo, John Cena, boo, Cena, over here, boo, and Triple H, yay, Triple H, yay. And a bit of foreshadowing also. I mean, looking at this pay-per-view, imagine having like a podcast back in the days or something like that, like a wrestling podcast. I'm pretty sure there were probably like a few. I mean, now you have thousands, but back in the days, you might have a couple of dozen, or some YouTube channel. Like, actually, now I think about it, I'm pretty sure. No, Bill and Doug. I don't think RVD Tito started their channel yet. I think RVD Tito started later on in the year, right? I don't think they started yet. So I don't really believe. No, AJ Styles TNA didn't start yet. Were there any wrestling channels I was watching at the time? I don't think I really got into all the Smarky channels until later on in 2006. And like early 07, that's when I got into PS Power and all them boys. RVD Tito, AJ Styles TNA, Big Rat 310. Damn, man. Is there anybody else? Gold Standard was around. Oh, Truth Slayer. Truth Slayer was around this time, I think, if I remember correctly. I used to watch him a lot also back in the days. But yeah, John Cena and Triple H. Nah, this was a no bueno. This was no bueno. This was just an average WWE main event match. I feel like, you know, we're spoiled today with the matches. Don't get it twisted, and that could have probably hurt everything also. But this, even then, at the time, I think most people would consider this to be a pretty blasé, boring ass match. Now, I will say it picked up a little bit when it got to like Triple H and like Cena was pressed up against the referee. He was gonna hit Triple H with a clothesline in the corner or a stinger splash or some shit, and he ended up hitting the referee by accident, right? And Triple H ended up low blowing Cena and the referee at the same time, and he brought a sledgehammer into the match. He tried to hit Cena with it a couple times, but Cena eventually, you know, broke away from it. He bounced off the ropes, and then Triple H immediately caught him with the sledgehammer, and then he went for the pinfall. Cena kicked out of it. Cena hit Triple H with the AA, or I guess at the time, the FU. Triple H kicked out of it. Cena pulling out all his arsenals. He tried to go for a crossbody off the turnbuckle. No cigar. And eventually Triple H tried to go for a pedigree. And then Cena reversed that into a STFU. He locked it in on him. Had it in super duper tight. And it looked like Triple H was about to pass out from the STFU. But like he dropped his hand down before it can actually reach the third time with his, the whole little pick your hand up 3 times. Before it could reach the third time, he was pausing and it was a false finish. He ended up tapping out when it was all said and done. LOL, Cena wins. Cena wins. Cena wins. I love you, John Cena. You're the best, bro. You're awesome. But yeah, this was like the first time I can remember, honestly. Now, don't get it twisted. Cena was getting booed back then, but it was like, like a distance. Like, who is a perfect example today of someone who's getting booed, but like not really getting booed? Like Becky Lynch, I guess, is a perfect example of somebody like that going up against Rhea Ripley. It's like you can hear pockets of people booing her, but no one's outright booing her. Does that make any sense? That's how it was with John Cena throughout 2005 and honestly going into 2006. I really think it was that ECW crowd that really, 3 shows that fucked up John Cena for me, honestly. The first time I noticed it was ECW One Night Stand 2005 when they were doing the whole fuck John Cena chants. That was the one that fucked them over. I believe personally the Royal Rumble fucked Cena over with Edge because people kind of thought that he was kind of politicking at the time if you were reading the dirt sheets back in the days. This show right here fucked him up, and then what put like the cherry on top that solidified Cena as far as being like the most polarizing figure in professional wrestling history was obviously One Night Stand 06. After that show, gloves were off. It was fucking over. But this right here was probably right before the final step before Cena got booed like heavily. And he got booed like fucking heavily with this audience right here. Chicago was not playing. Also, hey, I finally seen CM Punk. I mean, I see people say all the time, oh, CM Punk with the Tommy gun and shit like that. It's like, oh, I actually seen him for the first time. On the right-hand side, pulling up right before Cena comes out, you can see CM Punk right there with the gun. So that was pretty cool. I actually physically seen him. And it's crazy, too. He looks actually, like, older right there than he does right now. I know, crazy. Go back and watch it. I'm dead ass serious. Overall, though, this show was fucking bananas. This was all over the fucking place. And when I look back at it, it's a mixed card, folks. It's a very mixed show. I'd probably give it like a 7.5. Honestly, it's maybe even a 7.25. I didn't really find this to be it wasn't bad, but like it wasn't what I would consider to be an all-time great WrestleMania. Like I see people talk about the show honestly like it's one of the best WrestleManias of all time, and honestly I think it's highly overrated. I thought it was overrated at the time as far as the bill was considered when I was watching Raw and SmackDown every week around that time. Now granted, this is 2006, and 2006 for me is like the worst year period. I mean, maybe not overall because some recent years kind of probably surpassed that, but I mean like in my younger years, like up until like 2010, if I had to say between 1996 when I started watching wrestling to 2010, what was the worst year in that time period right there? It's either 2006, 2007, or 2010. Like it's one of those 3 years right there. And 06 really gives everything a run for its money. So maybe I'm a little bit biased when it comes to me judging the year as a whole. I just didn't like the show all too much though. It wasn't horrible. Edge and Foley obviously is a legendary match. What else? Honestly, that's Shawn and Vince had a pretty fun match, I guess. Even then, I wouldn't necessarily say it was all that well. The Money in the Bank match was fine, but there were better Money in the Bank matches. Again, it's just the only match that really outright delivered, in my opinion, was the Edge and Mick Foley match. And honestly, if you were to ask me what match to go back and watch, it'd probably just be that match right there. I mean, if you're trying to look for shits and giggles, maybe Vince and Shawn. But outside of that, now that I've actually sat down and watched this show from point A to point B, not Not a hard pass, but I think I'd probably pass on this show. That's just me, though, personally. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. How did you feel about the show? One of my longest fucking retro pay-per-view reviews of all time. And it's because this show had this AEW-esque type of fucking mentality of putting these many goddamn matches on the fucking card. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Don't forget, in about 2 more weeks, we'll go right back to the regular schedule. Next week, I have to get ready for WrestleMania, so that's the plan going forward. And we have more shows and more stuff to cover from Monday going on. Bray Wyatt, you're next. Seeing you, brother. Tomorrow, just regular commentary videos as far as what happens throughout the day. If anything happens. But with that being said, as always, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching you guys later. Deuces, P. Eyes.